The first and most powerful fear I ever felt in my life was when I was a kid and realized that my parents were going to die one day. Ever since that day that I still vividly remember, I hated fear. Whenever I felt fear, it made me think that I was a weak, powerless coward. Because in my warped perspective, I thought that if I wasn't a coward, then I wouldn't feel any fear. If I was brave, I wouldn't be afraid. As time went on, I realized that the culture I grew up around was the reason behind this mindset. Everyone was acting like they feared nothing, and they would brave any storm without a single moment of hesitation. But I wasn't like that. Ever since childhood, I felt fear for many, many things. I feared death. I feared loss. I feared getting physically hurt. I feared hurting other people. I feared threats and anger. I feared arguments. I feared authority. I feared being wrong. I feared not being good enough. I feared social isolation. I feared being misunderstood. I feared making people uncomfortable. I feared losing at life. I feared getting rejected by girls. I feared hunger and being broke. I feared cold and sleeping outside. I feared being mediocre. I feared being viewed as stupid. I feared the future. I feared the past. Most of all, I feared myself. And you know what? All of my fears came true. All of it happened. I know some people struggle with things similar to these as well. Let me tell you though, in hindsight, when I think about it, all of the things that I feared was going to happen whether I felt the dread or not. So bowing down to fear didn't really add anything to my benefit. Rather, it screwed up my head and my emotions for no reason at all. The problem was, I just felt fear but didn't do much to take the necessary actions. So I wasn't like those people. I wasn't fearless. The biggest fear I've had in my teens was the fear of not being accepted by other people and society. I never felt like I was one of them anyway. Always thought something was kinda wrong with me. But as time went on and as I lived more, I realized one thing. Everyone, and I mean everyone, actually had their own demons. Every one of them had the same default software installed, and fear was an integral part of it. But they were acting like it wasn't because early on in our lives, all of us, including me, realized that the moment we show fear, we show weakness. The moment we show fear, we tumble down significantly on the social ladder. The moment we show fear, we are a beta, a simple follower. The moment we show fear, we deem ourselves as a loser. This is why instead of using fear to our advantage, we act like it doesn't exist for us. Because most of our fears are social based. In reality, we don't have any issue with the concept of fear. Rather, we don't want our tribes or enemies to know that we are afraid sometimes. For the most part, fear is an interpersonal relationship problem, just as said in the book, Courage to be Disliked. Some people might say, but dude, I got valid reasons for my fears. And yes, I'm sure you do. If it's something out of your comfort zone, it's normal to feel fear. But that's not the true purpose of fear now, is it? The purpose of fear in today's world is not to stop us, but to test us. Our goal here is to turn our fear into our greatest strength. See the fear for what it really is in modern times. Not a mental setback that keeps us away from ourselves, but as a process of transformation. For that, first and foremost, we have to accept that we fear and we dread the possibility of other people knowing about it. And I'm not saying that if you choose to fight, the endless scenarios of failure won't come true. They might not. That's not the point. My humble moments of bravery didn't always turn out the way I wanted, but they gave me something that I didn't even knew I needed. Anyway, the point is to reframe fear in such a way that no matter what happens, we continue to approach it with utmost curiosity. No matter what happens, we treat fear as a stepping stone towards progress. As legendary mythologist Joseph Campbell said, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. And I'm not going to lie, this mindset is hard to acquire. It takes time and daily effort, but it is the only way to turn fear into our greatest power. We have to change our perspective on fear. Usually, fear is not what it looks like. It's not a gigantic dragon or a demon waiting to destroy us. When you confront your fears, you'll realize that it is actually a breeding ground. A breeding ground for bravery. A cooking pot for courage. When you take action, dread melts and takes the shape of confidence. And these virtues can only be achieved by going after them. They're not birthrights. They're not exclusive to certain people. They're not the things we have only when we know the outcome. We simply earn them with our small, daily actions. Those small actions compound and slowly pave the way for great triumphs. You can't run a successful business before you know how to talk to people. You can't get muscles before you enter the gym. Today's seemingly minuscule step of bravery is the foundation of tomorrow's conquers. Those who fail the most, those who fear the most, are the ones that celebrate the greatest victories. The difference is that they don't stop. Today, my greatest fear as a grown adult is the fear itself. It is the possibility of turning back with my tail tucked between my legs, not taking the shot. Most of the battles we fought in our lives, we first fight them inside our heads. And sometimes that's where our victory or defeat is decided. Yes, mental strength is that important. In a world where consciousness and perception rules everything else, mind is a battlefield. So read Stoic books, understand the Stoic mindset. When it comes to fear, nothing helped me more than Stoicism. Because just as Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And the most important part when it comes to wield the fear as a weapon is take action. Action is the fear killer. Confront your fear, and your legs will feel shaky, and your muscles might get stiff, and your heart may pop out. Go forward without a moment of hesitation, not because there's an absence of fear, rather despite of it. Bravery is not having no fear. It is accepting everything that is to fear and yet still choosing to fight. Don't think too much. You're a master at bullshitting yourself, remember? I know you want to feel safe. I know you want to have peace. I know you just want to get by. But our reality isn't like that. The only way to succeed is to take risks. So take a leap of faith into the unknown and see that there's a whole new possibility in this world. A possibility made from hope. In the end, whatever happens, whether you get beat up, whether you get rejected or snubbed, whether you get exactly what you wanted, you will realize that the treasure you're looking for, the treasure you never knew you needed all along, was that exchange. You traded your fear for a newfound strength in your heart, an experience of life, and a story to tell. No matter the outcome, you won. Hi. My content isn't retention based, so if you're hearing this, that means these words mean something to you, and I want to thank you. I said this before, but I'll say it as many times as needed. I wasn't able to find or connect with anyone when I needed to hear or experience stuff like this in my younger days. So if my content helps even a single person, that means more than you realize. So thank you. Anyway, as you're hearing this, I don't know what kind of situation I'll be in due to some unpredictable political stuff that will go down in my country in the next few days. That's why I'm recording this earlier than usual. Shit might get ugly, might not. I don't know. I might be gone for a while. Or not. I don't know. It's all a blur, really. When a lot of things depends on the whims of a couple of old fucks, everything's to be expected. But still, no matter the case, I want us to thank you. Don't forget to keep the hope inside alive. We'll meet again. Goodbye.